Oh, must be the Bushbox. Hello. Oh right, yeah. So you want to know if you can make a phone case or a Bushbox out of elder, willow and nettle? Yeah, sure I can show you how to do it. So hello and welcome back to my Outback. Sorry about that. Just had to get with the hit kits and turn the Bushbox into a phone case. So if you want to know how to make one, I can show you. It's made of all that lovely nettle cordage, if you've watched my nettle cordage video. It's made of the willow bark. If you've watched my willow bark cordage video, you'll know how to strip that off. And a bit of elder with a nice little toggle, and it opens up and you can drop your phone in. Now I've done it and dropped the phone in, but you can make these for any utility bag. You can put compasses in them, you can put anything you like in them, a survival kit, anything, fire kit, and basically just hang it over your head and you've got a nice little pouch. One of the reasons for doing the elder bark down the edges is stops the stitching holes splitting the wood through and holds it, and it gives it a nice look. You could taper these edges at a 45 degree if you wanted to make it a bit neater, but just a handy little thing to know how to make, and I'm going to show you how to do it if you want to. So if you watch the willow cordage one, you know that we had some rolls of willow bark and these were dry, totally dry, and now they've been soaking for an hour and they're all reconstituted. So basically we're going to take that piece and fold it in half, or maybe to there, or there. There's probably better. And then we're going to give it enough to lip over, so nearly thirds. It is splitting on the bark there a bit, so I might have to shorten it down, make it a bit thinner. Not the best piece of bark, I've already used that, but this is just to demonstrate what I did. So I think we're going to take that piece of bark off, which should just run off, hopefully, all the way down. So we'll have a slightly narrower case. And we can save that bit for cordage. So that's what we're going to start with. Picking the best side. I think maybe that side. We'll get it out of that. So that's the first thing I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to move around now so I can show you. Tools needed, knife and a saw. I'm using the Japanese flat saw. You can use your folding saws as long as they've got a flat blade and they're not curved. They'll do the same job. You can probably do it all with just the knife if you want to take your time down it. And a pencil or a bit of charcoal. Let's get one out of my carving kit. And we'll move on to doing it. So a couple of other things that you will need is either a stick, any stick you hire out, or a tent peg. And that's quite simply to get the cores out of the elder. And an awl, so that on your Swiss Army knife, the little awl that you can use that. I am going to use this, which is a leather hole punch, and it just makes nice circular holes. That's aids against the splitting, but you don't have to. You can burn them through, I suppose, as well. So there's lots of different ways of making the holes in them, and that's basically to put the holes on the stitching around the side. Quite solid things when they're made. So the first thing you're also going to need, I'm jumping the gun, is something circular. So you can use a log, you can use your judgment, basically just to draw a line where the flap's going to be. So I've already done that. Give myself a nice curved line. Doesn't look very straight, that, actually. I'll just put it on again. Pencil somewhere. Just draw around it, just to give yourself a guide. That looks straighter. And then we're going to get the knife. And we're just going to cut that nice and round. To get a nice curve to your flap. It's one of the hottest days again today. I really don't do with the heat. You can use it this way, just be careful. And you can put in like that, but that was more to give me a line of where I'm cutting. There we go. That's a bit off. It's a bit out there. If you don't like it, you can go over it again. That looks better. Just trim it down to what looks nice and what you fancy. Looks a bit better. So taking that up, that's going to be the flap that comes over. And you're going to have that kind of set up. So obviously if you're doing this for a phone, which it was a bit of a mick take, put your phone to it and check it's going to fit before you make it. But these are just utility pouches, and I like using the elder, as I said, because it makes the edges right. And I think that's going to be okay there. So we've got pieces of elder. You want them about as long. You can always trim them off later, so if they're a little bit over, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to take the pith out the elder. And as before, I'm rather good at taking the pith out of things. So you want to start popping it in, popping it out. And if you don't know what the pith is, it's the core of a plant or a tree. Checking how far you've gone in, and then work from the other end, because you can flick it out. And if you've watched my video on how I made a multi-note whistle, you'll know how to do the elder anyhow with the stick. And when you get to a certain point, you should be able to push it through and clear some of it out with your stick or your tent peg. Until you've basically got a hollow tube. There she goes. And it's that hollow tube design by nature that you're after. You won't be able to see that, but it is actually hollow now. Nature's straws. So once you've got it hollowed out, pick a side that you like, put that away, get your saw, and very carefully, because you're cutting here into your hand, but just start to saw. It will go, it's just going to take a second or two. Side of the saw. Basically, we're just cutting a straight line all the way up. On one of the hottest days of the year. Again. You see, you go through it, you're just cutting a slot all the way up, and that's what's going to help hold the whole bag together. It takes a while. It can be done with a knife, I would imagine, if you take your time with it, just scoring it in a V. But I think it's a bit quicker with the saw. And it's hopefully the saw that's giving you the straight line all the way up. Once you get it going, you can actually hold the material easier. And there we go. You now have a line all the way up there. Just check to see if there's any more pith wants to come out. As I keep saying, I'm good at taking the pith. And basically, these are going to act like the shopping bag handle things that help you carry the carrier bags. check the size, flatten the bark down, and hopefully I have to try and widen that one a bit. I guess you could always get your knife in. And you're just going to slide them on. It takes a bit of doing to get them started. You do have to be pretty brutal with it, but it will go on. It's a good tight fit, and that actually seals the pouch up when you've got it on. And you can wriggle it around, get it in properly. And as you can see, when it's on, it's on. I am tugging on that. It's not coming off. Let's tighten that one. Definitely wedged in there. So you're going to do the same on the other side, and then a bottom piece exactly the same that'll fit in between them or to the end like that. And we'll come back when I've got that far. So another way of cutting through the elder, if you hold it very carefully, you can start the saw off at the top, and you can do it like this, but just be exceptionally careful doing it. Probably a better way of starting it off rather than having your hand over it, and it will start to go through once you get further down. You might be able to hold it on your flat surface, like a tree log or table or whatever you're doing, a little easier. This is an extremely thick one. It's got a lot more wood on it, and I think doing it that way is probably the safest bet, as long as the saw doesn't slip. That's what you've got to be careful of, that you're not slicing your hand. I mean, if you know a better way of wedging it while you cut it, use that by all means. This has dried out a bit now from when I did it the other day. which always makes it a bit more harsh to do. But I'm nearly through. Yeah, we're through. Let's make sure it's cleared out. So I just thought I'd show you a different way of getting the slot into it. Slightly on the squiff, but it shouldn't matter. I hope. We shall see. So, we've had a little bit of a slip up, and I've actually split the bark on both sides. I did say it wasn't the best piece of bark. I'd already nicked that for the other one. So be careful what you're choosing. This already had a seam in it. Still good for cordage, but you get the pieces on and you can see how that's looking. I'll still go ahead and have a go for it. The next thing we want to do is cut a little toggle for the elder. So just work out roughly how big you think the toggle wants to be. Cut it out of a piece of the elder that's left. It's a simple cut across. Get your tent peg and pop her out. And there she goes. Quite satisfying, that, for some reason. So it's nice and cleaned out. Now you get your bradawl on your knife, your awl on your knife. I haven't got one with me, so I'm going to use my little knife. Just roughly go to the centre and give it a twizzing round, and at some point you will go through it, so just watch your fingers. You can start to curl it around a bit. And you're just putting a hole in one side. Just to thread your cordage through, basically. You can just trim them in. Take all the little burrs off. Smarten the ends up a bit. And all them burrs on it. Same with the other side. It's looking a bit tidier. Hole's big enough to get a piece of cordage through. Just roughly eye it up for the other side. And give yourself a twizzle mark. And do the same again on the other side. You don't have to use elder for this, you can use any bit of twig really. It's just that it's there on my offcut, and I don't like wasting stuff. Let's go through it. Just trim it in again. Little V cut one way and then back the other way to form the V cut, and it just makes it all nice and smooth. And you can widen the hole out a bit with the tip of your blade. And then we have a little toggle. Rough little toggle, but it's a little toggle. then all you'll do with that is get a piece of cordage, piece of bark, piece of nettle cordage, any cordage you've decided to make this with. Just put it through and give it a couple of overhand knots so it won't pull back through. Three looks promising. That's gonna take that bit off. Decide where that's going to go. Now I am going to use my hole cutters, but as again, you can use a bradawl, you can, whatever you've got, you can burn it through if you're careful. If you've got a sharp tent peg type thing, get that hot, singe the hole through. It will help having more of a rounded hole to them than with the bradawl. That's what tends to make them split, like this is split in the middle here on the grain. But I shall use this, and I shall put that roughly, mark it with a pencil first. I think, again, a bit of charcoal, just to give me an idea where I'm going with it. And all you do with these is slide them over, and that's it. And you have your hole, and it's a nice round hole. Get a bit of cordage. Shove that through, and the top will manage to go through the table, I don't know. There we go. And simply do an overhand knot on the other side. And you've attached your toggle. To the top of the case. And again, you can do 2 or 3 little overhand knots just to give it some thickness, just to stop it pulling through. Possibly will pull through at some point, but I'll go for 3 again. 3 is always the magic number. It's quite thick. Go for another one. What the hell? Doesn't really matter because it's not seen, but it just gives you a knot ball that stops it pulling through if it gets any tension on it. Shouldn't have a lot of tension on it. And then you can just cut that off, and that is where that's going to go, apart from the splitting it, which I might do something with. I might not. You could stitch it, I suppose. And that's going to be that. Then the sides, you're simply getting your tool or your awl or whatever you're using, bringing it in right close to the and give her a squeeze, or poke her through, or burn her through. And the spacing is about 1 centimetre. I'll just do a few so you can see. It's much easier with one of these, I must admit, but you're not likely to have one of these in your pack. So I have done with the bradawl, and I have done it with this. And you go all the way down, running down about centimetre gaps. To get the toggle one, when you do the bottom holes, presuming you can get it started without having to go all the way around. We're going to go about there on this one because that's split. There. So once you've got your toggle attached and you sew all your cordage on all the way around, and it's really drying out and splitting now, look. Which is a shame, but I'll do another one. It's all the fun of it. You can go through one of the central holes there with a cord, basically bring that round the toggle and bring it back down through the hole again and tie it off on the back, and that will hold the toggle down in place and hold the flap down. So you've stitched all the way around, you've put the toggle on, and your strap for your neck is basically just the cordage through the top holes, again tied around the other bit of cordage, so it's pulling on the cordage rather than the bark, so it shouldn't rip the grain of the bark. That's just really unfortunate the way that's split. And there we have it. That's how you make a Bushbox phone case, or a Bushbox phone box, whichever you like. As I said, there's one that's really done. And I love the angled shape to that. That's just the way it happened, the way it went. But they're a good little thing to know how to make. A handy little container. And if you can make one of these, you can make pretty much any container. You've got the principle of it all. So I hope that was interesting. Hope you enjoyed it. I had fun doing it. And we'll be back with something else. And if you want anything in particular, let me know. Always open to comments, as long as they're nice ones. And I'll see you back in the outback, or maybe out-back. Ta-ra.
Underneath the stars, where the wild winds roam, 3 faithful friends, they keep me warm at home.